And welcome back to LinkedIn Logs, the Jobs Podcast. I'm your host, Chad White. If you didn't know, this is the Jobs Podcast for the website, cpluscomedy.com. Like I just said, it's a website. Go there. There we go. Nope, I started the theme song over again, but we're going to keep it in because I'm not doing any editing this. It's not like I know how. Welcome back in. Here we are in this very special episode of this show. It's been, I don't know, Pinecast says like 20 days, so probably 22, 23 days since I've uploaded an episode of this show. It took off a couple weeks. One was Easter, and then another one was a week during which I was not in the mood to do this show. Welcome back in. Here we are. Let's just get into it because I have a lot of stuff to talk about. I was reading the New York Times with my Jesus. I'm sorry. This cable is hanging down and I don't know what to do with it. With my limited subscriptions I have now, I read the New York Times. I don't have Wall Street Journal anymore. It's not like I really need that one, but I was reading the New York Times and I saw an article that was longer. It's not one of their long reads, not one of their great reads, but it was a longer piece. And I just said, I don't want to read this. I want to listen to it. They have play buttons on a majority of the articles now. So I'm just going to click on one. I'm not going to tell you which one it is right now. But it says, listen to this article. And you press play. Usually it's some sort of automated voice, which is fine. I'm sure it's easy for them to upload the script, put in pronunciations for things, and then go on and do it. And then for other ones, they have pieces that are longer, that are written by the authors, the writers themselves, and then the writers read out, like, hi, I'm John Caramonica, and I'm reading this review of this thing, or this, whatever it is. And that's the other end of that spectrum. I would say you get rid of the automated voice, hit someone up like me, and let me read the articles for you. Now, I will charge you based on a per word thing. Per word. Yeah, per word amount. 400 words, $20. I don't know. No, fine. 400 words, $10. $10, that's how much I get paid. That's how much I get paid per article I write for unnamed website. I think that would be really, really good. It helped me out. It helped you out. Because wouldn't it be great if I'm going to click on this article that says The Secret to Restaurant-Style Chicken at Home. Wouldn't it be great if you heard that? The Secret to Restaurant-Style Chicken at Home by Eric Kim. Let the chicken cook itself. Then turn the drippings into a savory lime butter sauce, Eric Kim writes. The best tasting chicken results when you don't take it too far from itself, when you let the chicken taste like chicken. For that, you might start with the bird and look to the chicken whisperer, more specifically Mike Charles, the founder and chief executive of La Belle Pétrimonienne. Look, they threw in a French word at me and I rolled with it. I think that'd be great. Anyway, that's a new segment called Jobs I Think I'd Be Good At. I'm not kidding. I wrote that down as a segment idea. So I'm going to put that in the topics part. And there we go. All right, let's move on. We had a headline workshop. Has it really been that long since I've done an episode? Yeah, I guess so. We had a headline workshop in March. Oh, I put the wrong date down. Oh my goodness. No, we had a headline workshop in April. I was like, it's been 2 months. We had a headline workshop in April at the unnamed website. Again, you could go to my muck rack and you could see the name of the website. So I don't know why I'm holding this. hostage because I don't. There's a lot of reasons. Um, we had a headline workshop, and essentially what it is, and I'm gonna throw this question at you. We had a headline workshop on the 10th of April. Do we or do we not have two more for smaller sections of the website tomorrow and next week? Was I invited to both? Yeah, I was. Anyway, we had a headline workshop, and essentially what it was is they chose 10 articles who. Oh, that wasn't okay. So we didn't have a headline. We had a headline workshop like last week. I thought I had the date. So we had a headline workshop like last week. Okay, sorry, I thought I had the date wrong. I was like, this is impossible. That wasn't a date. It was how many of the articles are mine. Spoiler alert. 10. They had 10 articles that they're like, these are the headlines that aren't working. That didn't work out. Blah blah blah. 3 of them were mine. And in the mine were not. They weren't necessarily funny. They some of them were. They had puns in them. They had things that draw people towards them. But they weren't they weren't offensive. They weren't anything else. And it's crazy to say, like we're not. They said we're not trying to call people out. But they were all linked articles. I saw the headlines and I was reading through and I went, oh, that one's mine. And then I went down again. Oh, that was mine. And then I went, okay, they can't have more. That one's mine. It was ridiculous. What they want is a way for us to have SEO driven headlines. And I don't want to do things for clicks. And also I had interesting headlines. I'll say that much. All right, let's move on. These are things that all happened within this time that was gone. This is from Los Angeles Times, April 15th. Okay. Also, I've been kicked out of the article because I don't have a subscription to the LA Times. The New York Times and the LA Times should just band together for a subscription. Don't worry, I went to my secret thing. Starbucks announces new barista dress code. Here's what it looks like. Starting May 12th, which is next week, the company will require that its workers wear simple colors, including any solid black short or long sleeve crew neck, collared or buttoned up shirts with khaki, black or blue denim bottoms, according to its website. Additionally, the company will provide a pair of branded T-shirts to its partners at no cost. When I was at CBS, God, I was at CBS. When I was at that reminds me on Veep when Dan thought he was he's gonna hook up with Amy's sister, and she's like, "I got a new job at CVS." He's like, "CBS? I've always wanted to work there." And she's like, "I could probably get you a job there." He's like, "Great." Oh my gosh, I love Veep. Let's get back to this bad show. Anyway, Veep is a good show. This show is bad. They're calling it the back to Starbucks strategy, and CEO Brian Niccol he started the job in August, and they want to do things like simplify the menu, get rid of extra fees for beverages with the non-dairy milks, and just like have feel good messages on their cups. And this is a part of this strategy to simplify. But is it something that's necessary? Starbucks is, for what it is, it's about taking that simple thing, which is a black cup of coffee, and putting your own expression into it. You put in 3 shots of vanilla syrup and oat milk and whipped cream on top, and boom, you've got a sugary beverage, but it's different from that black cup of coffee. This is kind of taking away from what Starbucks was. And I understand that, yes, you want to take things away from its menu to make things more faster and let people get their foods and drinks faster and make them want to stay inside of Starbucks or leave. I guess that's the thing. But it's to take away the expressions of, I have to turn off the iPad. Take away the expressions of, I'll get to why in a second, of the people who are working there, your partners, then it's you seem like every other restaurant. How many I when I was at Starbucks, heck, when I was at a Home Depot when I was in high school, it was great to just come in and wear your own clothes, which you can do. You can they say you can wear essentially a black shirt, but under that apron, that was you. When I was at Home Depot, that was you. You didn't have to worry. You felt like you were just there hanging out, and also you happened to be working. The it it makes Starbucks not seem like the neighborhood shop that they want it to be, the neighborhood coffee shop that they want it to be. But people are still going to go there regardless. Okay, so the reason I turned off the iPad is mostly because I am going to be working out in about an hour or so. I have nothing else to do, man. Okay, let's move on to Duolingo. This comes from Engadget. Sarah Fielding writes, Duolingo will replace contract workers with AI for content creation. Well, there's a lot of an AI push that's happening, not just in the world itself, but a lot of it is in the world of jobs. And this seems like a very big part where people are losing out on jobs, and this is kind of a baby step, but it is definitely a step in that direction of how people are going to be treated, especially contract workers, especially people who aren't salaried or even protected. This is how we are being treated in the coming age of AI. Duolingo is now going to be AI first, the company has announced, aka it will drop employees in favor of using AI. In a publicly shared email, CEO Louis von Ahn outlined how Duolingo will, quote, gradually stop using contractors to do work that AI can handle. This follows the company's January 2024 decision to cut 10% of its contractors, in part because AI could do their tasks. Current amount of content. Okay, so Duolingo's, quote, need to create a massive amount of content and doing what that manually doesn't scale. One of the best decisions we made recently was replacing a slow manual content creation process with one powered by AI, with Ad AI. It could take us decades to scale our content to more learners. We owe it to our learners to get them this content ASAP. I don't know what that necessarily means. I mean, if I pop open Duolingo right now, is the content that they're talking about, don't offer me things. Is the content that they're talking about languages or styles of games or how to do things? Because right now I click on the exercise portion of the app and I'm seeing things like conversation and games, and I don't know if you can really see that on camera, things of that nature. It's such a frustrating thing to, boil everything down to content. I mean, I was applying to a couple of jobs at Warner Brothers, as well as some other media industry jobs, and the word content kept popping up, and I'm just thinking, don't call it content, because that it's like slop. What do you feed pigs? Slop. What's in slop? Stuff. Some meat, some juices, some leftovers, this and that. We'll see where that takes Duolingo in the future, but I mean, at this point, how can you say that you, as Duolingo states in that email, they care deeply about their employees, but how can you, and they want to remove bottlenecks to best utilize them, but how is this going to point in that right direction? Okay, moving on. Production assistants want a union. This comes from Katie Kilkenny over at The Hollywood Reporter. Production assistants, seeing work dwindle, view a union as their future. This would be great, and it boils down to this would protect production assistants who are often doing thankless jobs, like truly bottom of the barrel, thankless. They're getting paid basically nothing to have the blessing to be a part of the television and film industries and music industries. For a bit less than a year, Kilkenny writes, Production Assistants United has been taking steps to unionize these workers nationwide with the backing of Burbank-based LIUNA Local 724, which represents utility workers on Hollywood productions. And that's what production assistants are, utility. Organizers are aiming to increase wages, enshrine turnaround times, and provide access to union health benefits. In other words, to give these workers some of the same benefits as their union colleagues on set. Teamsters, you might remember that they just finished some sort of contract negotiation and things like that, and that's what the Writers Guild was doing, and when they went on strike, and the actors as well, and producers and directors. It's people need to be protected. Their jobs need to be protected because these studios, every single higher up entity would just demolish these people if they didn't have these types of protections. Even with these jobs lagging, this should help a lot of people out in the long run. Cleo Byrne Gutting, one of the group's LA-based organizers, says they want this most recent event that happened to send a message that, quote, this just isn't an ambitious and kind of underdog movement, but it's actually legitimate. They're not going to go away. There's a big climb. We're just coming off of those 2023 strikes. In 2024, the Production Assistants United set out to publicly unionize all types of production assistants and production secretaries. Interesting. I know that all three of those were separate entities: production assistants, and production secretaries. For narrative film and television across the U.S., a group they currently estimate numbers more than 10,000 people. I wonder if I can join based on my past experiences, or if they'd probably be like, you are a producer, you're going to be in the Producers Guild, which, hey baby, I'll take. But also $1,400 to join. It's pretty difficult to do this. And we're not getting a lot of work. We're not getting a lot of production ongoing in these last couple of years. In fact, according to the latest report from LA's Film Office, production days on location decreased more than 22% in the first quarter of 2025 compared to with an already meek period in 2024. And there's two things I want to mention about that. We have these new proposed tariffs, thanks about the entertainment industry, thanks to our current president, our Führer, if you will. And then second, as I was reading that sentence, this union would be small initially. While they're looking to cover everybody, nationally, and then probably nationally, they'll be covering everybody nationally. Pretend that they start. It's going to be just in the places where there's a lot of production going on. So it'll be LA, New York, maybe even Atlanta. But if you are a production assistant and you're shooting, Tulsa King, and I don't know if they shoot that in Oklahoma. I know they shot the first season here in Georgia, and I think they shot a lot of the second season here. So I won't say Tulsa King. But if you're someone shooting on location in Idaho or Montana, if you're shooting Yellowstone series in Montana, that doesn't necessarily mean that you'll be covered. So far, organizers have broken up their undertaking by region, as I just said, with an early focus on film hubs of LA, New York, Chicago, Atlanta, including the surrounding areas as well, Texas. So there you go. There's the answer to that. They debuted union authorization cards, which labor groups use to demonstrate the level of support they enjoy within a particular workforce. In February, the group plans to target studios in the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers individually once they decide they have a majority support amongst the company's production assistants. This is great. I mean, it seems like they have a plan and they're really mobilizing it, and it's pushing it towards a small but mighty area, and I really like that they seem to know what they're doing, even if it's not moving as quickly as they probably want it to. And all production senses is one is a higher pay. But yeah, I support this. This is cool. And finally, speaking of unions, this comes from Variety, written by Jennifer Moss. Video game companies release final offer to SAG-AFTRA addressing AI demands amid 9-month strike. This was announced, I believe, yesterday or the day before. But video game voice actors and video game voice actors are a part of SAG, and they're represented by SAG in the same way that traditional actors are represented by SAG. On-screen actors are represented by SAG, and they've been on strike for the past 9 months, which doesn't mean that games have stopped being made. It just means that people have recorded their lines, or after the strike they'll record their lines, and because games take a long time. Same thing with CGI movies; they just take a long time. So it's all the same thing. But for the past 9 months, they've just not been able to voice act in games because they want to get better pay, and because these video game companies make a lot of money. And now if they're going to be charging $80 for games, Nintendo, Rockstar, the rest, except for EA. EA announced yesterday that they will not be raising prices on their games yet. And my thought process behind that is, as soon as I saw that headline, I was sitting on the couch, I was watching Mission Impossible 2. As soon as I saw that headline, which is the horniest of the Mission Impossibles, because I think Tom Cruise was shooting Eyes Wide Shut at the same time, and truly the way that he treats Tandy Newton in that movie compared to the other women he's with in every other movie, oh my goodness, this guy is ready to go. Anyway. So just watch Mission Impossible. It's all great. I love those movies. Fallout I could watch that movie 10 times a week. I'm not kidding. It's so good. Anyway, what was I talking about? But when I saw the headline of EA said they weren't going to raise their prices on their games. The reason why I think that they're not doing it yet is because there's no big changes when it comes to sports games, like in general, and like the FIFAs, the EA football clubs, which is a fairly new franchise, the Madden games, the NBA 2K games, the live games, whatever, and the baseball, MLB The Show. There's no giant overall changes that warrant an $80 price, a $20 price increase to $80 or $90 or $100. Mostly because they already sell those $80, $90, $100 editions with the in-game V-Bucks or whatever to buy the cards, to play the online portions of the games. And then also, second, because they know they will lose their audience. They know that football fans who buy Madden every year would not buy Madden at an $80, $90, $100 price point if that was the baseline for it, without substantial changes. It's the same thing that happens with phones every single year. If my S23 Ultra is as good as the S22 Ultra, then, or slightly better, then what's going to warrant someone to upgrade? Versus if the S25 Ultra that came out 2 months ago is loads better than the S23 Ultra, then I'm going to want to upgrade. I'm not upgrading. I'm fine. I'm fine right now. Knock on wood. S25 Ultra doesn't have a pen. I have a stylus in my phone. I want it. I love it. When do I use a stylus? Sometimes. Do I write with it? Not really. The screen too small. Ah! Let me get back to the story. In a statement provided to Variety Monday, SAG-AFTRA condemns the video game company's move to release the proposal for publication and says its negotiating committee responded to that offer within 72 hours on May 2nd. Remember, video game companies released the final offer to SAG-AFTRA addressing AI demands amid this 9-month strike. This wasn't something that SAG wanted out in public, and also it makes it seem like the video game companies had not been receiving responses from SAG-AFTRA, an organization that I'm fairly certain, I'm not a part of it, but I'm fairly certain they're on top of their game when it comes to responding to companies about when they're in a negotiating process. Hell, if there are production companies even rumored to not be paying people, they'll say don't work with that production company. So yeah, I think SAG is really, really on top of it when it comes to that. The Actors Union went on strike July 16, 2024, after 18 months of negotiations. At this point, the strike hinges on a single issue: SAG-AFTRA's strong concerns regarding consent and compensation for the use of AI replicas. Again, this is a video game thing, so companies like EA, like Disney, yeah, Disney's a game company. Warner Brothers, all these other companies that make video games. I know I just named two movie studios that also make video games. They could, and I don't want to say copy and pasting, but they could definitely be using a lot of AI know-how when it comes to making games, and just kind of not wanting to pay actors or motion cap people in order to add something to a game or fix something up or what have you. Though the strike applies to specific titles on a case-by-case basis, the major video game companies included in the work stoppage were Activision Productions, which includes Call of Duty, Blind Light LLC, Disney Character Voices Inc., which includes, what's a Disney game? The new Epic Mickey. What's the Disney Dreamlight Valley? I think that's a game. Electronic Arts Productions, which includes Madden, Forza and Interactive LLC, Insomniac Games, which includes Spider-Man, the Spider-Man games, which are fantastic, Llama Productions LLC, Take-Two Productions, which includes Rockstar's games, which includes Red Dead Redemption and Grand Theft Auto, VoiceWorks Inc. Productions, and WB Games, which is also like the Suicide Squad game that came out. And Gotham Knights that came out. I have both of those games. I've played them both on my Steam Deck. I have not finished them both. I knew they both were going to be not so very good. Suicide Squad is fine. I have no plans on returning anytime soon, but I have them. They're there. The proposal was sent on April 30th, and it was deemed by the video game publishers to be their best and last. That offer that was following negotiations on April 15th, excuse me. The two sides, heading into that round of bargaining, the two sides had tentative agreements on 24 out of 25 total proposal. 24 out of the 25 total proposal. What? Okay. Out of 24 issues, out of 24 fives. Wait. They agreed on 24 out of 25 things, including wage increases of 24% over the life of the contract. The final issue at hand was protections against generative AI. Let's read. Okay. Well, they put up all 6 pages. And quite frankly, I'm not going to get into what they don't want. They do have a website. What is the keep reading, take action? Okay. Well, we just know it's against generative AI. They just want protections against generative AI, which is important. So there you go. Everybody needs to be protected. We can't just sit back and let AI become the easy way out. And it is at this point. And unfortunately, I checked to see if it was sunny outside because it didn't look too sunny. I want it to rain while I do my second workout for the day. But it seems to be the easy way out at this point in time. And as we saw with Duolingo getting rid of contractors, we're not getting what we always hear. AI is going to make life better. It's going to take over the smaller portions and in some cases the bigger portions of things that we do. But what are those things for Duolingo when it came to AI for AI to replace contract workers? What are those? And when I say replace them, it's not happening immediately. They're going to be, I assume, weaning, hiring contractors onto projects and things like that. But what does that necessarily mean? That when AI is going to be taking over these spots, I can only imagine that for a company like Duolingo, that means that, when it comes to building a game surrounding, I'll say what I saw on my thing. I was trying to learn Italian. So when it comes to building a game surrounding learning Italian, and you just need a level 1 game to help people remember the easy things. Pan, bread. Ragazzi, ragazzo, ragazza, excuse me. Lele. You want people to remember those things, and obviously I do. I took Latin and French, so I should have a good grasp on Italian. It's because I love the women, baby. However, but what does that mean, on the grand scheme of things? Is there going to be someone who's going to check over the work when the AI task is done? Is there going to be somebody who, let's go back to video games, a game that just came out is Claire Obscure Expedition 33. Look, I put in 3 hours on Sunday of that game, and I forgot the name of the game. I think I'm like 10 hours in. I'm almost done. I'm halfway through. I'm over halfway through. I know the exact point where it hit halfway because it happened on Sunday. I went, oh my God. Go play that game. You like RPGs? Go play that game. It's amazing. But in that, let's go back to a game everybody knows. Let's go back to Madden. Are they just going to have AI build the Falcons Stadium? Are they going to have them build? I was going to say the Georgia Dome. Are they going to have Mercedes-Benz Stadium? Are they going to have the AI just build Mercedes-Benz Stadium, give it the visuals of what it looks like, and then give it past iterations of it from other Madden games, and then say, now make it look good? I understand that's not how it works, but what does that sound? But that is something. That's the way that these game companies are making it seem like. Are they going to have, if somebody wants to be, Kirk Cousins or Brock Purdy, and they have Brock come in and do a couple of tosses and play and do a couple of downs, but when they can't get him to do some things over the summer, are they just going to go in there and tell AI to go, hey, his arm needs to move, a little bit like this, and let's make his head big or something? I don't know how AI works, but the thing is, people need protections, and that's what the crux of the whole argument is. All right, listen, I'm done. If you like what you heard here, I don't know why you wouldn't. Head to the website, cpluscomedy.com, where you can see me and talk to famous people sometimes. You can also see a video version of those chats on youtube.com/cpluscomedy, along with video versions of this podcast, as well as the other podcasts, Late Night Lately, the Late Night Show, and the Constitutionals, the Entertainment Business News podcast. All of that is on youtube.com/cpluscomedy. If you want to follow us on social media, you can follow us on Blue Sky, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok @cpluscomedy. Me on those platforms @ChadBlackWhite. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next time. Bye.